Hello, welcome to Sports Talk in the Burgh. I'm your host, Josh Woodman, and here with me today are our enthusiastic and stubborn panelists, Finn Leons, Casey Irwine, and Carter Dunlap. It's been a crazy weekend of sports here in the 412, and we've got a lot to unpack. It was opening night for hockey at PPG Paints Arena as our Penguins took on Chicago Blackhawks, and the number one overall pick, Connor Bedard, the quote-unquote next Crosby, took home the win with a late Blackhawks surge that saw them erase a 2-goal deficit and beat the Pens 4-2. Casey, how would you describe opening night in 3 words, please?
To put it simply, lol, because it was just lol. Watching it, it was just exactly what last year was. I mean, last year they were 28th in the league, 28th in lowest in the league for winning percentage with games they were winning going into third period. And you can see last night against a weaker team like Chicago, I don't care if they had Connor Bedard, okay? That's still a weaker team. And they folded again. It was just, of course, the team that didn't think about defense at all could not defend. And of course, the team that is, once again, the oldest team in the NHL can't last for 3 whole periods.
And, you know, I want to echo that. They could not finish. They could not. They played such a good first and second period. The third period comes, they're still up. They just collapse. 4 straight goals? Are you kidding me? I know they're not all in the third period, but still. Collapsing like that, you looked awful.
Embarrassing. It's in front of your home crowd like that.
Your new additions look awful.
It's a legacy game almost with the matchup that was coming into it, and that's how you do.
There's no change behind the bench. No new strategies. They look bad.
Now, I think compared to last year, you said they're old, but they look a little bit faster, in my opinion, with moving the puck around the court or the ice.
Is that your words? A little faster?
A little bit faster. Now, the big thing is, it's the first game of the season. There is room to move up. It's just the first game of the season. Now, the Blackhawks aren't very good, and they had the big spotlight, Bedard versus Crosby. But then again, it's just the first season. No one needs to panic right now.
Lol.
Well, I'm also going to not try to overreact after that pitiful performance. As we mentioned before here, the headline of the night was Connor Bedard's debut. While he didn't have the huge impact that one might expect from a guy with as much hype as Bedard, he did still pick up an assist and win his first game. I want to know, Carter, where do you see the generational talent in 5 years?
So I can see him in 5 years living up, but the big question is, what are his expectations right now? He is 18 years old. He's just a kid, okay? Their expectations, even from the organization and the fans, they can't be too extramental because he's just 18 years old. He can't have all that weight on his shoulders. See, if they, throughout his career for these first 5 years, if they keep building upon his expectations every season, he can develop into what he's supposed to be and being better than Sidney Crosby. It just depends how he takes the pressure and how much pressure is put on him.
I agree. I think he's going to become a top 5 player in the league within the next few years, but he needs to work on his physicality. I understand he's small, but he looked outmatched out there.
Better than Sidney Crosby? What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
He's supposed to be better than Connor
McDavid. In 5 years, that kid will have 0 Stanley Cups. You think he's going to be better than Sidney Crosby? Better than Sidney Crosby? My behind, okay? It's just not going. He will never be Sidney Crosby. That kid. Did you see him last night?
I did. And you know what? Despite he had a rough game, it's his first game. Give him some time.
Yeah.
Give him some time.
Penguins had a rough game. He had a rough game.
Chill into the lead, man.
Connor McDavid, he was supposed to be, everything.
He literally is better than Sidney Crosby.
What has he done in 8 years? What does he have to show after 8 years? Nothing. He's been here for 8 years. Nothing to show for it except goose eggs and power play goals. That's it.
Oh, my Lord.
That is it. And I see the same thing happening for Connor Bedard, all these expectations. And Sidney Crosby will always be superior.
Such a homer.
Well, I, for one, hope to see less of Bedard because they showed him plenty last night on the game. It's October, so that means the MLB Playoffs are underway. The Texas Rangers finish off their sweep of the Orioles last night, while the Phillies and Braves are tied at 1 in their series. And also, the Astros have the chance to close out the Twins tonight as they lead the series 2-1. Finn, what team has surprised you the most, and what team has maybe let you down a little bit?
So, for surprising, I got to go with the D-backs. They've been so good, and the prospects have panned out in this postseason, and they've just come back and they've beaten these these big teams that they were expected to lose. And for disappointing, I gotta go.
How can you pick them if the Rangers, they came in as a 5 seed and they're up 3-0 on the Orioles right now, which are the 1 seed in the American League? How can you pick another
The
team
Texas
other than the
Rangers
Rangers?
were doing so good in the regular season, they just happened to fall apart at the end.
Yeah, but they're still putting it together in the playoffs. I don't
Here's the
understand
thing.
how you can pick another
I
team.
honestly thought the Diamondbacks weren't even going to make the playoffs. And here they are. They haven't lost a playoff game yet. I mean, I know Clayton Kershaw has had playoff struggles, but they embarrassed him. I mean, seriously, he got 1 out. He let up 6 runs, and it was honestly embarrassing for such a team to just walk in there and take on the Dodgers in their home stadium and just absolutely kill their ace. I mean,
And the Dodgers were so good this year.
Yeah, and you say they got the prospects, but they have such good just veterans too. I mean, they have, you got Gurriel, you got a nostalgic name like Evan Longoria there. I mean, it's just they're just walking in and beating teams. And then like for me though, like disappointing wise, Blue Jays, I'm just sad to see them go.
They,
Yeah.
being from Buffalo, it's sad to see them go. But my disappointment's got to be Baltimore.
Yes,
They
I
got
agree.
swept for the first time in the year 2023. Their pitching flopped. Only 28 strikeouts in 3 games. Awful.
Yeah, and then losing to the 5 seed, getting swept by them is pretty terrible. I mean, how can you be one of the best teams in MLB throughout that whole entire regular season, go into the playoffs, and you get swept by the 5th seed? I don't understand how that's really a thing, especially with home field advantage and all that. I don't understand why they lost all those games.
Only people
They're just
disappointed are Baltimore
underperformed.
people. So
That is true.
Well, we'll stay in the ballpark as the playoffs tend to cause quite a stir. The Rangers and Phillies tend to cause some noise in the postseason, both in the stands and on the diamond. Meanwhile, the Rays recorded the lowest attendance in postseason in more than 100 years. Finn, I'll go back to you. What team has the best atmosphere in baseball?
It's got to be those Texas Rangers. They're hitting dingers game after game. 51 home runs in 5 games. That is crazy. The fans are going electric, and I don't see a better atmosphere in all of MLB right now.
I mean, here's the thing. If the Toronto Blue Jays had a home
They
game in
didn't
these
even
playoffs,
play a home game.
If they had a home game in these
If,
playoffs,
it's not an if question, it's who did.
It said
It's who did.
It said who has the best atmosphere in MLB right now, and I say the Toronto
And
Blue
they're-
Jays
and guess
would
what?
have
They're not even
blown
in-
out-
they're not
I
even in
say
the MLB right now
they
because
would've-
they're out.
They would have blown out the Twins if they had a home game.
my
Sadly,
Lord.
they did not have that home game, but Drake had his album. Toronto would have been alive.
Yeah, that's just, I don't even know what you're talking about because they didn't have a home playoff game. That I don't even understand where you're coming from. Now, my pick, even though they're 0-2 at home right now, I have the Dodger Stadium as the best atmosphere. So, good view of the city of Los Angeles, and they have the highest amount average fans at each of their home games.
Is it
And I
because
don't-
all the TikTokers are showing up? Because
It's still
clearly the
people.
fans are not showing out.
It's still
because,
people, though.
What, they're getting creamed by the Diamondbacks, as we talked about. I mean, it's just people, but what about the atmosphere? What about the people that are there to watch their
The
home
real
town?
fans
The
are
real-
coming
I
out.
think
They're not coming out and
As
showing
long
their
as you
support.
have a filled-out stadium, there will be noise. You could have half a stadium, and it won't be as much noise as if it's non-enthusiastic fans of a full stadium.
Toronto Blue Jays.
Haven't
Shut
had a
up.
playoff
They
game.
would have done it.
It doesn't matter.
They would have done it.
Absolutely ridiculous.
We're going to pretend like the Phillies don't exist, but anyway, Game 2 of the WNBA Finals is tonight. The Las Vegas Aces lead the Liberty 1-0 in the series. Casey, do you see any way the Liberty can come back, or are the Aces unstoppable?
Oh, they're coming back. Do not worry about this New York
No.
Liberty team.
No
they are
way.
coming back. Sabrina Ionescu, dog. John Quodones, dog. And of course, Brianna Stewart, dog.
You can't just say every player's a dog with no
Ionescu,
reasoning.
she has set record after record since being drafted first overall in 2020. She had a rough game 1. She will bounce back. You've got John Quodones. She was MVP of the league 2 years ago. She was solid in game 1. She can bounce back. And of course, Brianna Stewart, she's won 2 championships already. She has the experience to lead this team
You
back
can't
from
just,
being
you
down.
can't just rest your championship hopes on one
Yeah.
player who's
Here-
won a
here's the thing.
championship before.
Here's the thing. The Las Vegas Aces have won the first game, okay? Here's the thing with WNBA basketball. It's a game of 5. It's a 5-game series. You need to win 3 games to win. They won the first one. It's kind of, I don't know, I feel like they got the ball rolling. They just need 2 more wins. The NBA with a 7-game
I'm glad
series.
you can do math. I'm
The
glad you
Aces
can
were
do math.
so good. They're
Yeah.
so good.
Here's the
you got
thing.
Wilson and Plum putting up so many points. 17 points for Plum, 24 points for Wilson. You're going to say they're going to stop that. They're already down 1-0.
Here's the thing.
I don't care. They're going to come back.
With it being in Vegas, the Vegas odds, the Aces are supposed to win.
The Vegas odds.
House always wins.
The
Vegas house always
in
wins.
Vegas.
Okay,
That's for
yeah,
sure.
okay. Just wait for this Liberty team full of stars, full of demon ring chasers to come and
when
win.
they're on the sidelines crying at the end of the series, you'll be proven wrong.
Okay, we'll see how it goes.
Of a broader scale, the Olympics just announced a list of new events proposed to be added in 2028. These events include flag football, lacrosse, squash, and cricket. Also, baseball and softball hope to make a return this summer Olympic program. Finn, what events are you most excited for?
I'm a lacrosse guy. What can I say? I'm so excited to see lacrosse being shown on this international stage. Oh, it's one of the most exciting games out there. It's high scoring. It's constant energy. Shut up. You're a soccer fan.
That's going to be the whole world.
You're a soccer
The whole
fan.
world when lacrosse
Yeah.
would be at the Olympics.
I feel like only Canadian people are going to watch lacrosse. Here's the thing that's going to excite the American people. Flag football. America is known for putting out good football players. If you put them in the flag football, it's
Who
going
are you going to get to play flag football? Joe from the pizza shop down the street?
They're going to get retired NFL players that still got a little bit of juice left.
they're
Here's the
gonna-
thing.
they're gonna
They're going
go
to play
play
against
the
countries like
flag
China,
football.
Japan, India, and they're going to cook them. It's going to be hilarious and fun to watch. It's going to be
Yeah, but
exciting.
that's not an
Who wouldn't want to
Olympic
watch
event.
Michael Vick go
That's
out there
not-
and sling the
You're
ball
just
another
talking
60
from
Michael
your-
yards?
Vick isn't going to come.
You're
I
just
could see him
talking
come out
from
to
your
play some flag
McDonald's
football.
point of view, okay? Only
McDonald's?
Yeah, only us 430 million here would like that, but it's the world event, okay? And that's why baseball and softball.
Oh,
came
and then you
back.
pick baseball,
I feel
which
like-
only
Yeah.
people in America care about.
No, Japan literally just won the World Baseball
who
Classic.
cares?
Do you
Also,
see-
the
you
World
see
Baseball
it?
Classic is just better than the Olympics anyway, so
you-
why does it need to be in the Olympics?
Because
I
to
agree,
transfer that atmosphere to the Olympics every 4 years, having those players put on the illustrious gold medal, it's been there before and it has been awesome. And being there once again, it just makes sense. Stupid.
Well, I, for one, think Michael Vick is a dog, so I would love to see him come back. It was a hectic weekend here at RMU as the men's and women's hockey program made their long-awaited returns. The women's team was 1-1 and lost one against Union College, and the men's team also split with Bowling Green. There were also a couple of events to accompany the big occasion. There was a red carpet, tailgate, and an alumni game before the main event started. What was your favorite part of the weekend, Finn?
You want to talk about dogs? The women's hockey
Yes.
team are dogs. They blew out their opponents. They scored 12 goals in 2 games against them.
Especially the home opener, 6-1. That's
Home
quite a
opener,
performance.
Great crowd, great performance. It's a beautiful sight to see.
I mean, Maya Nugent's goal for me, that was the best moment. Her goal, it was a minute 14 seconds in the first period. After all this hype, after all the turmoil that's gone for the program, and a minute 14 seconds into the return of RMU hockey, she just lasers one in for the team, and the crowd erupts, and it was just absolutely perfect for the whole town.
Yeah, I mean, winning 6-1 home opener for women's hockey, that just shows sheer dominance. I think and I know that they're going to finish the season with a winning record and definitely continue the role of getting big
And
wins.
you know what? This women's team could win the division, and I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be surprised if the men's team had to come back either because
Listen.
they lost to Bowling Green, but then they went in.
Yeah, they won
and
the
then
next
they
game.
won in Bowling
it
Green
was
the next
first game
day.
jitters.
It was
they had a big crowd.
I'd
you
say
know
the
what?
lowest moment was that first period in the men's game. It was a
was.
really shaky period. You know, they were outpaced, outbodied. But then after that, they looked really good besides the fact that
The
they just
men's
couldn't
team
really put the puck
has
in
an
the
elite
net.
goalie in that. Wish he could
was
play for the
so-
Penguins.
Yeah, he was so good. He had 40 saves in that first game. He was he won the AHA goalie of the week. And so there's just so much hype around this team. It's just so exciting to see them back.
All right, when we come back, we have a new segment here, so be sure to stay tuned.
Thirty. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Welcome back to Golden Sports Center. That's CHC Women's Basketball.
Found my heart out there in the open. Trees make you feel smaller. Can't help but get lost again. If I need a break, know where I'm going. Where the water's flowing, I'd rather be floating. If it's something I can count on to be free. If it's hopeless,
Feel the beat of nature at a park or forest near you. Find a forest and music inspired by nature at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back. We have a new segment here for you today. It's called Jadens Be List. Jaden, what list do you have for us first?
Hello everyone, my name is Jaden and I'm going to get right into the AFC North standings for this 2023 season. To start off, we got the Steelers in first place at 3-2, the Ravens at 3-2 as well, then the Browns 2-2, and the Bengals 2-3. And let's be honest, I personally feel like the Steelers are going to hold their ground for first place because, come on, them terrible towels swirling, the screen going black in the stadium, like, you can't beat that. And with Lamar Jackson second place, I personally don't think that his so-called quarterback or running back, big debate, I don't think he's going to be able to so-called pass up Kenny Pickett. And just for example, the last game when the Steelers played the Ravens, Lamar Jackson threw the pick to Joey Porter Jr. and I just personally I think the Steelers are going to hold their ground and win the division this year. Let's see what the panel has to say about my predictions.
I mean, Jane, I agree with you that the Steelers will hold the top place in the division because I just think the AFC North as a general has just been real tough. It's just been weird. It's been weird.
An awful division this year.
But to say that Kenny Pickett was better than Lamar Jackson,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
sorry. It's hard.
Here's the issue. The Steelers have one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and they continue to be terrible. And they're not even going to fire Matt Canada.
Fun fact, no rushing touchdowns for the Steelers this year.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's not
And
sustainable.
Here's the thing. The division has a clear-cut number one quarterback in Joe Burrow. Eventually, the season.
He's hurt.
Here's
He's
the
hurt.
thing. The season is long enough to the point where he will come and show his dominance,
Now that he keeps
and they will
playing
win.
injured.
Oh, he'll show it. Don't worry.
He won't show it.
He is clear-cut the best quarterback in the division. Deshaun Watson, no.
Did you
God,
see?
no.
I mean,
Kenny
no
Pickett,
one-
he
no
hasn't
one-
shown me anything in all this season.
I mean, no one says Deshaun Watson's the best quarterback in anything, to be honest, except whatever.
Lamar's not even a quarterback, so.
But Lamar Jackson, he is the best. I mean, his receivers just can't catch. So if they can
No.
catch,
They're also,
Ravens might.
they're also
no.
made of glass. So.
Yeah, the Ravens might catch Steelers if the receivers can catch. But otherwise, Steelers.
Okay, now we are going to get into the top 5 Steelers players this year, as of my rankings. Number 1, we got the man, the myth, the legend, TJ Watt, linebacker. He has 8 sacks this season, 2 forced fumbles, and he always applies pressure to the quarterbacks. I mean, when the Steelers have him in the game, the Steelers are 56, 26-2, and without him, the Steelers have only won 1 game, and they are 1-10. And TJ Watt, I mean, every time he's in the game, it just always applies pressure to the quarterbacks, and I feel like it's a big threat to the Steelers defense. At number 2, I have George Pickens, wide receiver. This year, he has 22 receptions, 393 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he averages about 18 yards per catch. And personally, I can't wait for, as we know, Matt Canada. He struggles a lot, and I personally think he should use George Pickens more in the offense because he's a big threat. And with George Pickens, toe taps on the sidelines, nothing you can beat it. Even if he looks covered, trust me, he's not covered. Throw it, and he will be there. I promise you. And number 3 for my standings, I have Alex Highsmith. He has 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 interception, and he is very explosive as well towards the quarterbacks. And number 4, Jaylen Warren. I personally think he's above Najee because Najee is more about making fancy moves rather than Jaylen Warren. He's worried about being explosive and running straight forward. And last, believe it or not, Calvin Austin. I personally think he's very explosive and he's going to have a breakout year this year. Let's see what the panel has to say about my takes.
Here's the thing. Your list is respectable, except of the Calvin Austin slot on there. So Calvin Austin, he obviously has talents. He's fast. He gets open. He's explosive. They don't utilize him, though. Matt Canada doesn't know what to do with him. He has 1 big play this season, and that's it. The real thing or person you're losing out on is our top scorer for the offense. That's Chris Boswell. The only guy that we can rely on so far this season is Chris Boswell. Anyone else in the offense is just terrible right now, especially with the play calling.
Respectable list, I would agree. Me and Casey, I think we're thinking about the same person that's being left off that list. My man Najee Harris,
I'm a Najee
still the
believer.
#1 running back.
I'm a
and he-
Najee believer, and that's what we're gonna leave it at. That's what we're gonna leave it at.
Got is, these are my top takes on coaches that I think are going to be in the hot seat this season. Starting off, we have Ron Rivera. He has really not done anything since he took the Panthers to the Super Bowl. I mean, nothing really exciting has ever happened. He has only been above 500 once since he took his team to the Super Bowl. And the league has passed him by many of times, and he's just one of the worst drafters in the league, in my opinion. And he has been tied or trailed at halftime in 41 out of the 56 games that he has coached as a head coach, which I personally feel like that would not be fun to watch if he has been trailing that amount of games. And this next one, it's a bold move, but Mr. Bill Belichick himself. Ever since Brady left, like, the Patriots, they just can never get at the top of the division. Like, Belichick, he just doesn't seem like he has, like, that enthusiasm as he had when Tom Brady was there. In 2020, the record was 7-9. 2021, 10-7, a little bit better, above 500. And then 2022, they were 8-9, and they are currently starting off at 1-4, which is not how the old Bill Belichick would start. So I feel like it's a good thing that he might be in the hot seat, even though it's Bill Belichick, because he was known to be like Tom Brady's partner. Finn, what do you have to say about my takes for this?
Completely agree with Bill Belichick. Listen, he's the greatest coach of all time, one of the greatest coaches of all time, say what you will, but every coach has their shelf life, and I think it's time for him to go.
Since Brady retired, the Patriots have been the Pootriots, okay? They have been terrible. This year they're terrible.
They're
They
dog water.
They haven't won a playoff game in 5 years. They haven't sniffed success at all. You've had time at this point to rebuild, and you've done nothing.
Here's what I would do. Bill Belichick, I'd keep him on for one more season just because of what he's done for the past 20 years. If they can tank so good to get Caleb Williams or Drake May, I just want to see what Belichick would do.
And you want both.
I said or. I would love to see what they would do, what he would do with a top 1 or top 2 quarterback. Because I feel like what they're missing right now is a quarterback. Mac Jones has played like absolute garbage, and that's just how it is. They need a quarterback.
Now we are going to be getting into the top 5 teams that I hate from my personal rankings. Number 1, Baltimore Ravens. Personally, Steelers being my team, can't stand them with a passion. Most people call them like the Ratbirds, you know, like nobody, like they're just, every time you think of AFC North football, the biggest rivalry, in my opinion, Steelers-Ravens. It's always back-to-back. It's always dirty football every time we play them. Number 2, we got the Bengals. So Vontaze Burfict with the Antonio Brown hit. The Bengals personally have ruined the Steelers wide receiver core. If Vontaze Burfict didn't hit AB and like caused him the whole concussion hit, because the Steelers could have had a really good career ahead if AB stayed with the Steelers. Number 3, I got the good old Cleveland Browns. Also a big rival, AFC North. Myles Garrett with the whole helmet incident with Mason Rudolph. Like, that's a big hate coming from a Steelers fan. And the Browns also beat the Steelers in the playoffs a couple years ago. And number 4, I got the good old Dallas Cowboys, America's football team. Every year they say it's their year, and every year it's just not their year. So like I feel like it's just always repetitive every year with them. And Dak Prescott, he is hurt every game all the time. He's always out, and he's just never able to play. And number 5, I got the good old New England Patriots. Personally, once a cheater, always a cheater, my opinion, never going to be a big fan. And the Jesse James catch will forever haunt me to this day. Josh, what do you have to say about this?
When we come back, we got final takes. Stay tuned.
Do you want to meet a family with a transgender kid? Here we are. Max loves to do backflips. Max loves to play his ukulele. Max loves to just be a kid,
No, they
and
cut
just
out
be
a
himself.
question.
When I found out I was pregnant, all I really wanted was a happy, healthy, whole child, and that's what I got. I think it's really important for people to know that trans kids don't have
starting
a
with
political
Finn.
agenda. They are just kids. Like any parent, we love our kids unconditionally, and we will never stop fighting for them. Stand with us. Protect our families.
I'm just glad that I'm done.
Wait, not in the toilet. Don't do that.
Don't hit your brother. Ooh.
Not again.
I tell you about playing in the mud.
Rafi,
I need this camera. Someone needs to get this camera.
Frankie, what are you doing? We told you never to touch the gun! I'm sorry, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. You could have hurt yourself!
Safely store your guns. Unload, lock, and away from ammo.
Welcome back. Now it's time for final takes. We're going to start with you, Finn. What do you got?
Hockey season is back, baby. With the first games of the regular season being played last night, the hype is real. The quest for the cup is the hardest grind in all of sports, and the question on everyone's mind is who will come out on top. As the king of hot takes, I propose Vancouver Canucks will win the Stanley Cup. Led by Captain Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, and Thatcher Demko, the Canucks will be a force to be reckoned with. With their problems from last year are gone. They've been addressed in the offseason. Their bottom six issues with the signing of Sutter and Bluger have been fixed. Their defensive issues with Hronek, Soucy, and Cole coming in. These are their big adds to the offseason. And with Thatcher Demko looking back in his Vezina form, I think the Canucks have the best shot to win their first Stanley Cup since the Sedin era.
All right, so from what I've heard throughout the week, the Steelers are not making any huge changes with the offense. And for the foreseeable future, we all know the entire Steelers fan base would salivate over the news of Matt Canada being fired. The simple fact is, Matt Canada will not be fired, but his play calling privileges need to be at least stripped away. Canada not reacting to the 41-yard touchdown at the end of the game told me that he knows his job for calling plays is over. Mike Sullivan, the QB coach, not the Pens coach, he needs to call plays for the rest of the season. And I would love if Byron Leftwich actually came into the organization like he wants to. But, the Steelers, they're allergic to having good coaches. That isn't their head coach. At this point in time, Matt Canada is the highest paid high school football coach in the world, and that needs to be changed. I will take anything at this point. The Steelers' offense is at rock bottom, and there isn't anywhere to go but up if Canada is fired.
The NFL MVP award is washed. It is a corrupted quarterback award, and it is a joke. Patrick Mahomes is the current favorite for MVP. For what? Are you seriously going to sit here and tell me Mahomes has played better than TJ Watt this season? TJ Watt currently has plus 10,000 odds to win the award. That is absolutely absurd. You know who has higher odds? Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, and Dak freaking Prescott. Have you seen any of those guys play this year? None of those guys have more than 5 touchdown passes through 5 weeks. TJ Watt has 8 sacks through that same amount of time. The award's a total sham. It can't even be taken seriously anymore. It's gone from an award to give credit to the biggest game changer and most valuable player to an organization to a total PR award. No one deserves the NFL MVP award more than TJ Watt, and it's time to change. How this award is seen and voted on instead of current Mickey Mouse Hollywood state needs to be changed.
Now, I understand your point of view with it's washed out with quarterbacks. Here's the thing. It's not going to change. I think Tua is going to win MVP. That Miami's offense has been electric so far this season. I don't understand how anyone else could do it. If they keep up that offense, he's going to win MVP.
They didn't keep it
care.
up against the Bills.
Here's the thing. That's one game. There's 17 games in the season. Him and Josh McDaniels are going to continue and finish the season.
Agree to disagree. That's all we have for Sports Talk in the Burgh. See y'all next week.